I'm like scrolling back to see what you guys would have last seen. Are you focused on my face? Cool. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you might recognize from these green walls, if you've been here for a little bit, I am back at my parents' house. I am here for the holidays and as we'll get into, a couple other reasons as well. But yeah, welcome back. I thought I would give you a little recap slash update of, I guess, my travels the last 4 months. So I was living in the bus full-time for 4 months this summer before I came back here, came back home, and honestly, the whole experience was absolutely incredible. Like, I can't say it any differently. It was just, everything about it was so amazing, and I'm so happy. Yeah, I really loved it. I miss the road and the bus, and I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit when I talk about kind of life update and what's going on now. But let's start off with what happened over the last couple months, so past my last video. So essentially I left you guys off when I was in North Dakota. So I was in North Dakota in the Badlands. I obviously did so many amazing hikes. I loved it there. Honestly, my backyard view from the bus was actually incredible. Like, I don't understand how that was even real, like how I actually lived there, and my backyard was actually just full Badlands with just amazing sunsets like every day. The weather was crazy. Like, some days genuinely it got so windy. I was literally googling like how much wind does it take to like flip over a car. Like, I was concerned. It's like a hilariously windy the past couple days. Like, it's woken me up. Hilariously rocking the bus. Windy. The weather has been crazy here. Like, on its good days, it's really, really good. And on its bad days, when she was good, she was very, very good. But when she was bad, she was horrid. If any of you know that poem. It's crazy though, because the like colors here, the sunsets, the sunrises are so gorgeous. Everything is like a purpley blue. There's so many like pinks and like yellows, but yeah, very purpley blue. But then this wind is like actually crazy. But we were completely fine. The state park was pretty much completely empty. I actually ended up staying there until the day that they closed for winter. So yeah, I was their last resident or camper that was really there, and one of the guys that runs the state park came back to keep checking on me, which was nice every day, just to make sure, because again, the weather did get a little bit crazy in some of those days. It was also freezing some days as well. Like, that was when, both when I was up in Thunder Bay and then when I was in North Dakota and continuing on, there was some couple days or weeks where like layers and layers of clothing, and I mean like not getting out of my pajamas and putting clothes on top just to try and survive, like working through the day. Essentially that was kind of one of the reasons why I came home. But regardless, watching this woman chase her cow down the road. Did you get lost? Where did you come from? I ended up leaving North Dakota and I drove into South Dakota, and that was such a beautiful drive. Honestly, I just passed like so many pretty but also funny things like throughout my whole time in the Dakotas, and also when I then made it into Wyoming. Just so many funny things. I actually came up with a list of just like words or adjectives for each kind of state or province that I visited. I only visited Ontario in terms of provinces, but each state that I visited. And yeah, first of all, North Dakota, just the colors, like purple. North Dakota is purple and teal, and it's so interesting because I said this in my other video, but this is what I always pictured like the South to be, as in like Arizona, New Mexico in the winter. I always like saw videos and photos of it being very purple and teal, which are just not colors that we see up here in Ontario, and that's exactly what it was. I wasn't even very far south, but North Dakota was so purple. It was so neat. And then in South Dakota, I made it down to I actually one day after work, this is so silly, this is the silliest thing that I've done in the bus, which is after work one day, I was 30 minutes or 40 minutes from Mount Rushmore. I just made it home from Mount Rushmore. I honestly don't even know what to say. It's such like a crazy concept to me that this place actually exists, like that somebody came up with this idea and then did it is mind-blowing. And the fact that I was actually there and like seeing it in person, it literally looks like a cartoon. Like if anyone's around my age and you remember Phineas and Ferb, when they go to Mount Rushmore and they like spin around in the glasses and they like Dr. Doofenshmirtz like drills down with Perry and the platypus and they have that whole fighting scene. It looks exactly like that. Like they nailed it in that show because it looks exactly the same, which is just so funny and weird. It was just such a weird experience. Like everything about it to me is so insane that this exists, but it was again somewhere that I wouldn't necessarily plan to go to on my own, so it was really cool to see it. So one day after work I just packed up all my stuff, took this insane drive. Like the bus fit, but I mean like it's one way, tiny, low, like full rock bridges and one way like lanes all curving through this forest. It was gorgeous, but like kind of stressful, but we did great. The bus handled fantastically. It was amazing, but I was literally giggling to myself the whole time, like as if this experience is real right now. I had so many of those moments in bus life that I just absolutely loved and I miss. And it was so random. And then I decided to go to Mount Rushmore, which again, I went to so many places where I would never have made them a destination, but because I was living in the bus, there's just so many things that you end up seeing from living on the road just accidentally, so many things that you end up experiencing, and that was just honestly the highlight and the best part. For example, on my way down to South Dakota, or no, in South Dakota, I actually found this highway. It was called an enchanted highway, where basically somebody, like a whole bunch of farmers and stuff who were good at working with their hands and welding and all this kind of stuff, made these giant sculptures out of just stuff that they found around on the farm. I'll put some photos up on the screen here so you guys can like actually see, but it was honestly so neat. Like, and I just got to pull over. I was just in my little house, you know, looking at all of these super neat like pictures and just pieces of artwork. It was just so cool. And so that was super neat. And then I was in South Dakota and do you ever just like wake up one day and there's just mountain goats outside your kitchen window? Because that's what happened to me often. There were so much wildlife in both North and South Dakota. I don't think I was expecting it at all. Like just driving around and just seeing a buffalo or bison, we're still out on those two words or what the differences are, but just seeing one of them just hanging out on the road multiple times, like they just lived there, that is wild to me. Oh my gosh. Same with mountain goats, same with bighorn sheep. Same with like just so many deer and a bunch of other, oh my god, prairie dogs. Why are prairie dogs the cutest things ever? I kind of didn't know that they existed, but why are they adorable? And then also like rattlesnakes, which, you know, not adorable, but really cool to actually see one. I cannot believe the wildlife when I was there. Seriously, it was insane. But same thing with like just all of these like ranches and like being in full rancher country, just seeing all the cows, all of the horses everywhere, seeing all the oil. I know I mentioned that in my last video, but oh my goodness, that just blew my mind. One time when I was driving, I came up just behind a oil tanker that had flipped, like literally probably a few minutes before I got there, and the ranger ended up coming to me in the bus and said, "You're a long way from home," because my license plate's from Ontario, and we chatted a little bit. Fortunately, I got here right after an oil tanker flipped over. The cop came over and talked to me. He was like, "It's gonna be a while, like settle in." I was like, "It's okay, I have my house with me, so that's fine." And then he was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I work in environmental tech." He's like, "So you know about this? They like to spill." I was like, I was just not expecting it at all, but it was so funny. And then I did visit Custer State Park while I was in South Dakota as well, which is absolutely gorgeous. I would love to go in the summer too, but we did end up having actually some pretty good weather some days, and some of the hikes were gorgeous. They have my favorite sign ever, which I just want to read. I'll put it up on the screen here, but I think this, like, I literally stood there with tears in my eyes when I was reading it because it's amazing. It says, "Custer State Park is a place where one can still be an unworried and unregimented individual and wear any old clothes and sit on a log and get their sanity back again." That's so nice. And this was just sitting like in the middle of nowhere on this trail. It wasn't like advertised or anything super big, but it was just the trail that I decided to go on that day after work. And I came up to see this sign and like, it just melted my heart. I just love it so much. And then I decided that I would head into Wyoming because I was very close. Now, this is where, well, no, I'll tell you about Wyoming first and then we'll kind of move on to my travel predicaments. But basically, on my way into Wyoming, I saw, which I am so happy that I turned around after I saw this to go back. I passed this because I had pretty long driving days. Like, if you guys have been watching my channel, you know that I work full time, so I don't really drive very much on the weekdays when I'm working, especially because it's hard, and also in the winter it gets dark very fast, you know. Some of my days are kind of just normal. I sit down and do my 9-to-5 job, and then I do a workout, and then I make dinner and read my book and go to bed, you know. Like, some days just look like that, but it just happens to be in a bus, and it happens to be that my lunchtime walk or my workout after work is in these crazy places, and that's exactly what Wyoming felt like to me. But on the way there, I saw this archaeological dig site for mammoths, and I'm so glad that I stopped and bought a ticket and just walked in by myself because it was honestly so cool. I'll insert some pictures here, but like, This is an active dig site, by the way. They just found this when they were developing the area, and then somebody just decided to leave it essentially and turn it into almost a little museum. But it is an active dig site, so you actually just walk into where all of this research is actually happening, and it is so cool. Seeing the mammoths, like, everything about it was just amazing. It was taking my breath away. I was so happy that I stopped. And then I continued on. I made it into Wyoming. I took the bus down a actual full-ass mountain in the snow and mud, which I do not want to experience again. That was terrifying. The bus handled like an absolute champ. I love her so much. She did so good. But my face was pure panic the whole time. It was not a fun experience, but honestly the views were absolutely gorgeous. Like, if I had a four-wheel drive vehicle, small ATV, something, like, I understand why people love that. It is so gorgeous, so quiet. When I got to Wyoming, I have never experienced a place so quiet before. Like, I didn't realize how much, I mean, I know that there's a lot of background noise in cities, for example, or even slightly outside of cities, but I've never experienced somewhere so quiet where, like, a plane going overhead is so incredibly loud. Like, it is dead silent there. It was I can't even explain to you. It was so crazy, and all of the sunrises, every single sunset was honestly gorgeous. It was right beside this big lake that was just so beautiful. I took a photo. This is so funny. I took a photo of at the other end of that road, that mountain road that I came on, which is paved and is upkept by the state. Yeah, it's very obvious that the way I came was the faster way, but it was the back route through all of these mountains, which honestly, I don't even know. I'm clearly going to need to start paying more attention to routes, which I certainly did after this experience. But yeah, sometimes I forget about that mountains exist and that, like, you know, elevation actually impacts things, because I live in a very flat area and sometimes I just don't even know. I kind of forgot all of that. But the other cool thing about driving there, while I'm on that topic, is driving in Wyoming and the States in general. I really found that they just prioritize big rigs and trucks so much. Like, I've never seen so many dedicated semi lanes and dedicated semi speed limits. That's like not a thing that I've seen before, and it made so much sense, and it was so like comforting. Like, listen, I know my rig isn't that big, all right? I get it. It doesn't feel big to me. It feels like a car when I'm driving it. But going on mountain roads, having a dedicated lane and a dedicated speed, and knowing who to follow and what to use as signals of all of the trucks around me was so helpful, truly. It just felt so nice to be surrounded by, like, it's funny because when I'm driving a car, I think I said this in a clip, but when I'm driving a car, you kind of get intimidated when like two semis are on either side of you on the highway. When I'm in the bus, I'm like, oh, they're giving me a hug, like they're my little parents. I don't know why. But yeah, that was just so nice. So all of that, I ended up staying at the same campsite in Wyoming for 2 weeks. Like, I extended my stay for a full 2 weeks because it was also until they closed down for the winter. But it was just honestly so gorgeous. I couldn't give it up. I was completely alone. The rangers just like came and checked on me again. Like, we talked, you know, a few days, and whatnot. I bought myself a tiny little pumpkin because that was where I celebrated Halloween, getting into the Halloween spirit. And then yeah, it was one day on a weekend I actually drove an hour and a bit into one of the cities, or towns I guess, but city that was nearby, and volunteered at like a fall festival. So I was watching over like the kids section, basically taking care of all the kids, doing like not taking care of them, but like keeping up the games section and everything. So I basically was just in charge of that, you know, coloring with the kids and playing all the games with them, cleaning stuff up, just hanging out. And that was really, really sweet. Yeah, it was really nice. I ended up talking to the owner of that, who was just so impressed that I did that, because obviously I don't know anybody. It's not where I'm from at all. And so yeah, it was just really sweet, and that was actually also a really good experience. I'm really happy that I found that online by accident the night before and just decided I'm just gonna get up early and I'm going to drive this hour and I'm just gonna go do something where, you know, I'm helping somebody too. He actually told me that he was really stressed out the night before because he didn't have any volunteers and he was really worried about how the event was gonna go, and then I just showed up that day, so he was really happy about that. And yeah, it was super nice. And then after that, the rangers gave me the last of their firewood, so, you know, had some campfires by myself. Again, watched the sunrises and the sunsets, and the colors were just absolutely gorgeous. Had my first full snow there. The first snow happened for me in South Dakota, but it was too warm, it didn't stay on the ground. And Wyoming it did, in the mountains covered in snow. It wasn't a ton, but it did snow consistently for a whole day. It was beautiful. It was honestly so pretty. And then throughout this time, I did not have a heater. My heater still isn't working, which is why I really decided to come home. It's the end of October. It's -2 degrees Celsius in here. I have no heat, and my water is frozen. My food has been frozen. My, like, oil has froze many times now, but this is the first time that my pipes are frozen. My faucet wouldn't work, the water pump wouldn't work. I don't think it's gonna break. I don't think it's cold enough for it to like break, but I turned it on and it was not pumping anything out. So yeah, we're going home home to my parents' house. I think we're gonna speed up that journey. I was supposed to do it in a month, but yeah, we're gonna do it in a couple days because yeah, nope, can't anymore. I lied, I just checked, it's -8 in here. What am I doing? Essentially, there was a couple things I could do. One, it was getting way too cold for me, but also definitely too cold for the geckos. Everything was dying. Like I couldn't keep my batteries charged at all. I couldn't even keep any of my like laptops or cell phones working without them being plugged into an outlet, so it was just draining through power. Like, it was cold and it never got warmer. It was getting colder and colder, and the only thing that I could do, obviously there's so many places I would love to go. There's so many, especially national parks in Wyoming. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to go back in better weather. But same, like again, I'm so close to Colorado, to Utah, to all of these things. And I was like, okay, if I don't have heat, what I can do is try really hard to book it to Arizona. But I had a deadline and I needed to be back in London by end of November, because I had my work holiday party December 1st, which just happened. So I needed to be back here for that. And I was like, okay, I can book it far, like a good 15 hours to Utah or somewhere, even just slightly warmer. But then from there, I'm gonna have to immediately turn around. Like I said, I'm still working full time, so I can't be driving every single day. And so I'm still gonna be in the cold, and I really wanted to pay attention for the geckos especially, but also for me. Like, I just had such an amazing time in the bus that I didn't want something as silly as me like roughing it out for no reason and making myself sick or making myself not enjoy the process just because I was like being super stubborn and refusing to go home for another month, literally a month. That was like being a little bit silly. So I was like, I'm not gonna make myself sick. Like, I'm not going to literally stay here so long that I'm hating it. Like, it's so cold. And so I decided, it was about a 24-hour drive that I did over the course of 2 and a bit days, where I just absolutely booked it through Wyoming, through Nebraska, through Idaho, through Illinois, and then up through Michigan, and then I crossed the border on Halloween night. My family had no idea, by the way. I did mention that I was going to come home maybe a little earlier because it's getting cold, but I didn't want them to worry about anything, and so I just didn't tell them that I was doing this. But I ended up driving like hours and hours every single day, the whole weekend, and then a little bit on the, I think it was a Monday or a Tuesday or something, I can't remember. But it was actually on Halloween when I crossed the border, and I crossed the border successfully as well, which was great. You know, you're always like a little bit nervous about it, but it was all good, totally fine. I got random searched, which, you know, surprise, surprise, but they all really loved the bus, and they were all really nice after, you know, their serious customs faces got to be, you know, let down a little bit, so that was good. And then I came home, and sorry, okay, if you can hear stuff in the background, we literally have mice in the walls, and they are so loud. Like, they woke me up fully last night. They've been doing this for a couple nights, but they're so loud in the walls, like scratching and scratching around. I was up for about an hour last night, just couldn't fall back asleep. Psh. Speaking of which, well, actually no, I'll get onto this after, but anyway, it was Halloween. I came home, I shut the lights off the bus as I was driving down our street, I parked it down the street at our neighbor's house, like outside of our neighbor's house, and I crept up. I got a little like Lululemon bag, and I kind of walked up to our house, made sure that there was no kids like at the door so that my family wasn't there. I knocked, and then they opened it, and I yelled trick or treat, and my whole family, my mom was the one that opened the door, just went "Wah!" and just started screaming. So my sister and my dad came running out, and they were like, "Whoa!" And literally no one said anything for probably like a full 2 minutes. Like, everyone was too stunned to speak. They couldn't believe that I was there. It was the best surprise. It was honestly so sweet and so cute. They just had no idea what to do. They were so excited that I was home. And so yeah, that day I bought a gym membership, so I got to see all my old friends at the gym that I work at, and it's been, you know, longer at home than I was originally planning. I'm here throughout the holiday season, and then doing some appointments and stuff that I'd scheduled for December, because I knew I was going to be here for the whole month of December, and I'm also here into the first week or two of January. It's been fine, but kind of hard. I miss the bus a lot. I miss my travels, but I'm so happy that I had such a good time, and also just like so many good and weird and random experiences. I also found my favorite sign when I was traveling, which is a warning road sign. I'll put a picture up, but it says cattle at large, and I think that's the funniest shit ever. I was laughing so hard, literally being by myself. I was not lonely at all. I honestly make myself laugh so much. I'm always singing, I'm always dancing, I'm always like doing silly funny things by myself, and I miss being alone. I don't know why I think that sign is so funny, but I want one. So if any of you, you know, can find a way to get me that sign. I think it's so funny because to me, I picture like a cow just standing on its 2 hind legs with like a robbery, you know, mask on, and like a bag of money, just running away like the cattle is at large running. That's exactly what I picture, and I burst out laughing every single time that I saw that sign. I thought it was the funniest thing. Editing Ellie here, how funny is it that I literally googled cartoon cow robbing a bank and this photo came up. I didn't even draw it, but this is great. And I still love it. It's still my favorite. Oh, but yeah, so many random things on my travels. Honestly, it's been such a great time, and like I said, now I'm back home with the family, so that's also been all good. The bus is officially shut down and ready for winter. My mom actually had the first trip in the bus, which was in the winter again with no heater. But we just went up to Sudbury actually for a funeral, but yeah, it was a good couple nights in there with her. We had a lot of fun together, and yeah, the bus has been handling fantastic. Couldn't imagine it any better, to be honest. The heater situation has been a whole epidemic ordeal, honestly. Frustrated out of my mind about it. But, you know, is what it is. We will try our best. I am so proud and happy to say that nothing else in the bus has failed. This is wood. Nothing else is broken. Everything that I did, the whole build has stayed together perfectly. Like, I'm really proud of myself for all of that. It's always scary trying appliances or things or systems or testing systems for the first time, especially going down some of those like wild logging ATV roads where like all my bins are like thrown off the shelves and stuff, but not a single cupboard opened and nothing broke. Like, it's honestly been fantastic. So I'm so proud of that bus. I'm so proud of me for doing this whole thing. And yeah, that's essentially what's happening now. And now the bus is shut down for winter, so everything's dumped. There's antifreeze in my tanks. The batteries are disconnected inside, and we got a ton of peppermint oil inside to try and prevent any mice finding their way in. But yeah, that is essentially, I think, my update. I've got a couple other videos coming out, but essentially that was my travel experience and the last couple months where I have not updated the camera about my travels and what's been going on, but I really enjoyed everything about it. I can't wait to get back on the road again, ideally in January after I finish some appointments here and stuff like that. So I will be back on the road, and let's cross our fingers that you'll see me in Arizona and New Mexico, because girl, we know that we are trying to avoid the winter and get to that desert. I cannot wait. But heater needs to be fixed in January and wait till after Christmas to, you know, start that again. I actually did wrap my heater exhaust in titanium exhaust wrap and pulled my back, so my gym efforts have been severely lacking since then because I cannot go. I'm going back today. I'm now in recovery. This is about week 3 of this injury, so I'm heading to Pilates tonight. I did yoga yesterday, and you know, we're in recovery to try and help that. But yeah, otherwise the bus has been fantastic. I miss it so much. I miss my little home and my space, but I hope you guys are doing well. I hope that was a good update for kind of what's been going on for my travels and a little bit of plans for the future. I hope you are enjoying Vlogmas also. Clearly I am not participating, but I hope you are enjoying it. So much fun having all of your favorite YouTube creators, you know, posting videos super often, and I'm very excited to, you know, get these next few videos out. I'm so happy that I have a camera now, which is really exciting, and yeah, getting me into some more creative ideas and flows. So definitely vlogs coming soon as I move back into the bus, and some other exciting videos as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to eat dinner soon and then head to my Pilates class, and yeah, I will speak to you guys very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Again, keep sharing those stories because every adventure is worthwhile. Love you guys. Bye.